everybody. Welcome. Ooh, that's loud. Welcome. It's so good to see you guys. And it's cool, right? Like in July when we did this, it was literally like 100 degrees. So, yeah. So now you got your sweaters and your blankets. Sweet. I got to tell you, I didn't sleep a whole lot last night, so I was kind of grumpy all day. So, like, I was looking forward to this. This is like the highlight of my day. It's so nice to see you. We got some fun stuff planned for this evening. We're going to start out with a little friendly competition. We're going to do, we're going to take some moments to kind of still our hearts and kind of encourage each other. We're also going to hear from some of you this evening, which I'm really excited about. And also, we're going to share communion. And I love communion because communion is for everybody. It's like the great equalizer. We all get to show up the same to the table and partake of the love that God has for us. So we're going to have a good night tonight, and we're going to get it kicked off with a game. So Zach and Caroline have a game for us.
Yes. Can we have our masks off when we're talking into it? Cool. Okay. So we are going to play a taboo-like game, and it's going to be young people versus old people. So anyone high school and younger is young, and anyone over that is old team. So we need 3 volunteers from each young team and old team. Yes. I got one. Okay, you can come up here. We got 2.
Right here, here, yeah, his hand.
Okay, 3. Yeah. Okay. And also, if you're coming up, you get to bring a partner with you who's going to keep you accountable.
So, who do we have? These 3 guys?
2. Okay, we need another pair. Kenzie, you coming up here? All right. Okay. And now we need 3 old people. Yeah. No volunteers. Interesting. You calling your dad up?
Maybe you shouldn't have called him old.
Okay. We got one. Okay, you need to pick a partner also. Ooh, sorry, different teams. Your partner has to be old. Okay. Any other volunteers? All right, come on. What'd you say? Yeah. Wes, you have to be his partner. Okay, perfect. Okay, now we need one more set. Tori. All right. And now Tori needs a friend. Babe, can you bring up a timer on your phone for 30 seconds? Okay. Ooh, good pair. Okay. That's a good question. We didn't explain it yet. Okay. Which of the young team wants to go first? Okay, you guys are going first. Yes. Okay. So each pair, one person is going to be the describer, and the other person is going to make sure the describer doesn't say any of the not allowed words. Okay?
So, wait, they get
Understand?
to use the buzzer.
So one of you gets to use a buzzer, and one of you gets to be the microphone holder. And I'm going to bring it over here. So I'm going to have a word for you, and then there's going to be 5 words under it that you can't say. And you want to get everybody out there to guess your word. Does that make sense? Okay. Then you get buzzed, and you have to go to the next one. It's going to be hard. Okay. So who's describing and who's being the buzzer? Okay. All right. Introduce yourself to everybody. I'm going to hold it for you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm Abram.
Okay. And your partner? Everybody out here wants to know your name.
Sam.
Okay. You got Abram and Sam. Okay. So Zach is going to have a timer for 30 seconds, and we're going to come back here so no one can cheat. All right. You're back here with us. All right. You have 30 seconds, and this is your first word. Okay. This is what you want them to guess. These are the words you can't say. All of the young people in the audience are guessing. Just the young people in the audience are guessing. You guys can guess. Are there any questions from the audience? Okay, Zach's going to set a timer for 30 seconds. If he says any of these words, you're pressing the buzzer. Okay, are you ready? Okay. When you start going, Zach's going to start.
So it is something that you you use it in a costume. You
Any guesses?
it covers your mouth and nose.
Yes. Okay, this is your next one.
It is a
Oh, okay, you got one. All right. Yeah, you guys can guess. Yep.
So
Yep.
is it the next crew?
Okay, so now we got old people. Okay.
He's
Describe.
he's gonna.
Okay, here are the words you can't say. Okay, only old people are guessing.
What's my job?
If he says any of them, you buzz. Okay, are you ready? Z? Ready to go.
All right. If it feels a certain way outside, you might describe, yes, but the way it. This is an animal that can reside inside your house that I don't generally yes. Jason has a. Oh, that's too difficult.
Done! Okay, we got two. One. All right. Okay, who's up? Okay. Who's describing and who's you're describing and you're the buzzer. Okay, that's your buzzer. Okay, this is your first one. But only when you buzz him when he says a bad word. Okay, I'm giving you a little time to think of a good one.
Screen might go away, so you might just have to keep your finger on it, right? Like
Just touch it every once in a while so it doesn't go.
Wait, what happens if it there?
I'll fix it if it does.
Okay.
Is that one better? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, got 30 seconds, babe? Okay, young people are guessing.
And go.
You use this in school?
Yes!
Not like it's not. It's like it's like a group of days. It's called. And it's not like all the days. That's what you should have said. It's a fun.
You'll have to describe next time. There you go, man. All right, old people are up. Maybe. We have a lot of words.
All right.
Okay, it might go dark. So there you go. All right. Ready, Z? Okay.
Okay, you go outside in your RV and you take a match and yep. An ingredient in a milkshake. Yeah. You wear a mask and you ask for no. At the end of next month. Yeah. Okay.
There you go. Okay, let's change it to 45. Yeah, for the last one. Okay, we're changing it to 45 seconds for the last round. Okay. Is this one too hard?
Yeah. Do I just press this green button? Yay. Yeah.
Good? Okay. All right. Ready, set, go. You guys are guessing.
You snuggle with it.
Wow, yes! Okay, can you get that one?
They have it at Dunkin'.
Should we skip it?
Yeah. Pennsylvania.
Time!
Oh my gosh.
You got blanket, girlfriend. Good job. Lancaster. You get it, man. You get it. That's fair. I'll get it for you when I find it. Okay, here we go. All right, 45 seconds for you guys. Here you go. Okay, this is your first one.
Sorry, we going?
Ready?
Okay, Halloween. It is large on the ground. There's usually a concoction. Good. This is on a plant. It comes in all colors. Oh, sorry. Buzz me. This is a gourd like. And it is a hot beverage that's very popular.
Yes! Good job. They got that one.
This is usually in.
Time. Okay, you guys got
A lot of pressure.
two. Here's Lancaster for you. Yeah, you did. You got Cauldron. And
Pumpkin spice
pumpkin
latte.
Spice latte. You did.
We did.
Okay.
We got pencil. They got weekend. They got weekend.
Oh, okay.
We just switched it around.
We'll switch it around. We'll switch it around.
accurate.
Okay. That's all. Okay. We have enough to do another round. Does anyone want to do another round? Okay, we got another round. Okay. You guys decide who goes. And you guys get to pick someone else who goes the second round. I don't know how to pick for you guys. Okay. All right. Okay, do you want 45 seconds? Here's this one. Start strategizing now. Okay, young people are guessing. Babe, you got time? You focused? Okay, we're going for 45 seconds. Ready, set, go.
Something people put on their porch when you walk by on a very scary night. They
Yes!
something people do to get meat. They
Yeah!
something they use with apple to make it a liquid.
You said apple. We're going to skip that one.
Wait, where was it? Okay.
How much time we got? Get this one.
I don't know. October. I don't really know how to do.
How much time we got?
Something like
Time. Yes! Autumn. She got it. Okay, here you go. You got hunting and autumn and pumpkin.
I guess pumpkin. Let's go, Jason.
There you go. All right. This is the last round.
Yeah. You get the buzzer.
Okay, I'm going to let you flip through these because they're all falling apart now.
Okay, am I starting with this one?
All right. You got 45 seconds?
I got a loud buzzer in my.
Oh, great. Do that. Okay, old people are guessing. We'd like some audience involvement here. Here we go.
One of the positions is a kicker.
There you go.
You have a sister, a mother.
Yes. Uh-oh, old people are doing good.
In the season of autumn, they fall. We go really far to like another state. Keep going. Road trip.
Yes. Last one.
Oh, time.
Okay, count up your cards.
You missed one there.
No, count them all together.
Yeah, Leaf was a no-go.
Leaf was a no-go. Hey, you guys got pencil, right?
Oh, we dominated. We got 5.
Okay.
What's that?
Oh, these ones
This
were
one
no.
was the one that I got wrong.
Okay, perfect. Okay, the young
9.
and the old people all together have.
Something about lying and saying eight.
Yeah.
That's right. They do.
I am.
I'm
Dealing with
gonna. You know what? You can hold on to those for souvenirs. I'm gonna put this. There we go. Okay.
Good morning. Just kidding. I know it's not morning. Got me? Is that coming through, Zach? Lindsay, we got some guitar coming through? All right. Show of hands, who knows the band Need to Breathe? All right. Well, this is one of their songs, and I definitely have a more iconic voice than Bear Reinhardt. So I look forward to showing off this song. I'm just joking, but this is a song called Brother. I don't know if you know the story behind the song, but it's a cool story. Tell it another time because we're running late here. So here we go. Oops, wrong song. Ramblers in the wilderness, yeah, we can't find what we need. We get a little restless from the searching, get a little worn down in between. Like a bull chasing the matadors, a man left to his own schemes. Well, everybody needs someone beside them, shining like a lighthouse from the sea. Brother, let me be your shelter, never leave you all alone. I can be the one you call when you're low. Brother, let me be your fortress when the night winds are driving on. Be the one to light the way, bring you home. Gavin DeGraw. Face down in the dead of night, there's a cage locked around my heart. I found a way to drop the keys where my failures were. Now my hands can't reach that far. I ain't made for rivalry, I could never take the world alone. I know that in my weakness I am strong, and it's your love that brings me home. Brother, let me be your shelter, never leave you all alone. I can be the one you call when you're low. Brother, let me to go, brother, I'm right here. On those days when the sky begins to fall, you're the blood of my blood. We can get through it all. Brother, let me be your shelter and never leave you all alone. I can be the one you call when you're low. Brother, let me be your fortress when the night winds are driving on. Be the one to light the way, bring you home. Thank you. We've got a worship song here for you. This one's Good, Good Father. You probably know this song, so if you want to, you're welcome to sing or hum along if you wish. I've heard 1,000 stories of what they think you're like, but I've heard the tender whisper of love in the dead of night, and you tell me that you're pleased and that I'm never alone. You're a good, good father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. I've seen many searching for answers far and wide, but I know we're all searching for answers. Only you provide, 'cause you know just what we need before we say a word. You're a good, good father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways to us. Love so undeniable, I can hardly speak. Peace so unexplainable, I can hardly think as you call me. Deeper still as you call me. Deeper still as you call me. Deeper still into love. Love, love, you're a good, good father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. Thanks, guys.
Is that good? Do I need to turn that down? Okay. Okay. So there's something special kind of beautiful, really, to be found when we gather together. To be in the presence of people similar to us and also different from us. The beauty and also sometimes the struggle that community can bring. All of us arrive here with the opportunity to be made new. We arrive perhaps already being renewed, or at the very least with the opportunity to be renewed when we welcome the presence of God into our lives and our awareness. I know tonight we have a lot of kids with us, and they're fine. As long as you're comfortable with what they're doing, we are fine with what they're doing. We're glad you're here. We're glad they're here. We are going to take a few moments because quieting our hearts becomes harder and harder as the world becomes more and more troubled and burdened with the stressors and the grief that we sometimes carry. So we are going to attempt to take a few moments to be still together. So let's lay down the worry and the hardship at the feet of God and collectively quiet our hearts for a moment. Together, let's try to stop moving, stop questioning, stop trying to help and fix and solve, and just be with each other while we allow ourselves to be aware of the presence of God that is already and really always with us. So I'm going to ask you to take a few deep breaths as you start to still your bodies and your minds. Just go ahead and breathe deep. You can close your eyes if you are able. Let your shoulders drop and your face relax. God looks on us together with love. Breathe in and breathe out. Again. With your eyes still closed, if you're able, continue breathing. And if you're willing, I'm going to ask you to open your heart to God and just be present as we pray together. God, we know you are with us. We know you love us. We want you to know this life is hard for us and we are carrying heavy weight. Thank you for never turning away from our pain. Thank you for never denying the weight of the burdens that we carry. Thank you for the person of Jesus who shows us continually what you look like and how you make people feel and what you want and bring to people's lives. We want to live in the freedom Jesus brought. We want to live knowing that this hardship is not the end. We want to find hope in the resurrection or the new beginning that you promise. We want to know what it feels like to be deeply loved and accepted by you. And we want to share that love with those we meet. So open our eyes and our hearts to the ways you are moving in us and around us and through us tonight and in the days ahead. You are our constant when all else is moving. You are the steady presence that affirms us as we hope in you. Help us to endure as the trials come and go. You are our hope. Your light is our guide. You are our rock, our firm foundation. Amen.
All right. Well, that was very good. Thank you, dear. Thank you, Mindy. Thank you, Ashlyn. Malpasses. Thank you for leading our kids in those games. Thanks for being here tonight. I'm really glad that we're gathering, and that sun continues to set pretty quickly, and it gets more and more chilly, right? Families will be scooching closer together and throwing blankets around each other. Weather's changed, especially from the first time we did this. We were all sweating on the face of the sun. So anyway, I'm so glad you're here. It's so good to be together in some sense, face to face. the kids running around, all of that. So we're just really glad to be together tonight. And one of the things I've learned as this is now our third time, I've learned that sermons don't work really well at Life Church Outdoors. And so I thought tonight maybe a fun thing to do, a helpful thing to do would be to have a conversation. And I was thinking about people to talk to or interview or people that I wanted you to get to know a little bit better. And I'm really I had someone come to mind. They kept coming to mind. And so I asked them this week and they said, yeah, sure, I'd be willing to do that. And that's Artie. And so if you don't know Artie Van Wy, he's been a part of our church here for several years now, but even behind the scenes for probably almost the whole journey to some degree or another. So I thought it would be a good night to just bring Artie up here. So come on up, Artie. You can have a seat up here. I'm just going to sit down and have a conversation with Artie, ask him some questions about his journey and his story. Over the past weeks, we've been, I just finished up that series, The School of Life, and we've been talking about stages of faith. And I've had some conversations with Artie about his stages of faith. And so some of that, you'll hear some of that in here. But also as we talked about stages of faith too, we talked a little bit about just trials, hardships, that kind of stuff, struggles, doubts, questions. Some of that comes out through in Artie's story too. So some of the things we've been talking about as a church in our Sunday mornings, I think are some themes in Artie's life. And I just kind of wanted you to hear some of it, get to know Artie a little better and hear some of his story. And he was willing to open up a little bit and share. So nice to have you up here, Artie. Thanks for
Nice
being
to be
here.
up here.
Yeah, let's hear it for Artie.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Usually Ranger is with him, but
Ranger's home tonight.
no Ranger tonight. So Artie's a local. Artie's written a couple of books. We'll maybe talk about those here at the end, but towards the end, so they know if they want any more information on your journey or story. But let me get back to my notes here. So I gave him a heads up on the questions I'd be asking him. So. All right, so so let's just get started with some overview kind of stuff. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who's Artie Van Wy? A little bit about your journey, your story, your things you're interested in. What's your zodiac sign?
Well, I was born in Wilkes-Barre, but shortly after I was born, my family moved to Maryland. So I grew up in a town called Gaithersburg in Maryland. That's where I grew up. I went to college in Kentucky, a Christian liberal arts college called Asbury. And I traveled, I don't think you even knew this. I went to London in 1973 to work the Billy Graham Crusade.
Wow.
That was through my college. And while in college, I belonged to a theater group. We'd travel around the country doing Christian plays, most of which were pretty bad, but they had a message nonetheless. Yeah, I lived in New York for 26 years before moving here. I moved here in 2003. Moved here actually because my folks had retired here, and I wanted to be closer to them. You know, after seeing them, 2 or 3 times a year, I just kind of had the need to be with family. So that's what brought me out here. And I was fortunate to live with them the last 6 years of their lives. They both passed in 2017. But that was a real gift to be able to experience that. And now I live in Millersville, and I work at Wegmans, new position in the pharmacy. And that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Great. Thanks so much. Good highlight reel there. So one of the things I wanted to just kind of work through a little bit here was, so you became a Christian somewhere, I think, in your late teens. Was it end of high school or in college? And just tell us a little bit about that part of your journey when you kind of the stage one, stepping into faith and that season.
Yeah, I became a Christian my senior year of high school through an organization called Young Life, if you're familiar with that. I grew up in the church. My family attended a Methodist church, but we were just, Sunday goers. I'd go to Sunday school, but, aside from just on Sundays, it really had no impact in my life otherwise. So when I became a Christian, I jumped right into the deep end. I I just totally embraced it. I think it was at a time in my life when I needed something like that. There was a lot of turmoil going on in my home, and I was feeling kind of lost. And all of a sudden, I'm hearing about Jesus and what all he could do for me, and having a plan for my life. And like I said, I just went full force and embraced it. Totally turned my life around. Totally turned my family life around with my folks. And up until that point, I had always thought I was going to go to an acting school. That's what I wanted to do. But after becoming a Christian, I decided God was leading me to go to a Christian college and study the Bible, which I did for my first 2 years. And it was really I can look back and say it was kind of a naive time, but it was also a very innocent time. I mean, I embraced it. I loved sharing the gospel. On weekends, I would go out with a evangelical team. We'd go out to different churches. Also, this was during the height of those who remember the Jesus movement, which was big in the 70s. And I'd be one of those people standing on the street corner with my big cross and my Bible in my hand and handing out tracts and, trying to win people to the Lord. And that was the beginning of my my Christian life.
Did you also have good, long, hippie hair?
I did, which had to be cut when I went to the conservative Christian college. Yes.
That was a bad omen right there.
Yeah,
the
right.
Cutting of the hair. Yeah, well, great. Thanks for that. You jumped in hardcore and
Oh, yeah.
and really I like how you said naive but yet genuine, and just really there's just a lot there, and it was I mean, as you were experiencing it was a good season. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very
Yeah.
much so.
Yeah. So then some dissonance started to happen, or somewhere along the way dissonance started to come in, because you realized that not only were you a Christian, but also you were coming to terms with the reality that you were also gay.
Right.
And so, how did that begin to play out for you?
Well, I mean, ironically, that happened my senior year as well. I mean, I always knew that there was something different about me, and my senior year is when I finally put all the pieces together and realized that I was gay. And then I became a Christian, and, soon enough got the message that that was not going to be compatible. So I naively prayed for God to take it away, and I believed he did. Denial and suppression can sometimes work greatly. So when I went to college, my junior year, I suddenly realized God hadn't taken it away. I mean, nothing happened, no incidents or anything, but I just realized inwardly that I was still gay. And so then I started thinking there was something wrong with me, and that, God was going to judge me and God would hate me. And, that began a time of just turmoil, of trying to come to grips with my sexuality and my spirituality. On my knees a lot, praying, reading the Bible, and also becoming disillusioned too, because this loving God that I had embraced a few years before was suddenly this judgmental, harsh figure. So when I left that college my senior year, I was pretty damaged as far as my spiritual life, living under the fear of God instead of the love of God. And that began after I got out of college. That began a number of years which went into my time in New York, where I tried everything I could to not be gay. I went to ex-gay ministries, and I got counseling, and I saw pastors. I had a demon cast out. Anything I could think of, and it just wasn't working. And I belonged to a Christian community at the time in New York. I was seeing the pastor of that church. He was counseling me. So it just got to the point where emotionally, psychologically, mentally, I was really a wreck. And finally got to the point where, for my own health, mentally and emotionally and psychologically, I had to embrace the fact that I was gay and be true to myself in that aspect. But at the expense of thinking I had to give up God, that I couldn't have God in my life. And once I did finally come out as gay, everyone in my Christian community turned their backs on me. And so I was kind of cast out from them, so I figured I was cast out from God as well. So that was the beginning of a number of years, too many, of living without acknowledging God in my life.
That's a lot to walk through. Yeah. Through your 20s, probably?
Yeah, my
Or-
20s, yeah.
Yeah. What would you say to, this is off the cuff here, what would you say to those who would say, well, maybe you just didn't try hard enough, or maybe you weren't sincere enough, or, if you would have done this or that, maybe it would have changed as far as your sexuality?
Oh, I would tell them I did just about anything you could do. I would take any suggestion. I mean, I even went so far as to flying out to a monastery to try to get help. I ended up in a psychiatric hospital trying to get help. I did it all. So to those people, I would say I did everything humanly possible to try not to be gay.
Yeah. And once you kind of came to terms with, once you kind of accepted that reality about your own person, what did that feel like? What was that like?
It felt like a huge weight off my shoulders, for one. It was a relief, yet it was tinged with the fear of God. Even though I wasn't actively living a Christian life or acknowledging God in my life, there was still that in the back of my head, those old tapes would play that I heard so often. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so at that point, then it was like, these two things just were incompatible.
Right.
And so you
As
had
far
to
as I
embrace one and
was
let go of the
concerned.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then that led into your life and times in New York City, where you lived for, you say 26
23 years.
23 years.
Oh, no, 26. You're right, 26 years.
I know you so well.
Yeah.
So having lived through that, worked through that to some degree, and then kind of living life without God because you figured that's just was the only option you really had. Then there you were at Ground Zero on 9/11 that September day, and you kind of walked through that experience or lived through that experience. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that? It was just the anniversary, the 19th anniversary, was it?
Yeah, the 19th.
So we're coming up
Hard
on
to
the
believe next year will be 20 years.
Yeah.
I took a job at I was working at a law firm in Midtown Manhattan, and the beginning of 2001, they merged with there was talk that they were going to merge with a new firm. And indeed they did, with a much larger firm. And in June, we moved into their offices, which happened to be across from the World Trade Center. So I'd only been working down there like 3 months before 9/11 happened. I remember the day vividly. I still think of it often. I remember it being a beautiful day, which most people say they do remember that, how beautiful it was. But I was in my office building when the first plane hit. We heard a loud explosion, and our building actually shook. And, everyone was saying, "What is that? What is that?" Someone ran in and said a plane had hit one of the towers. And when I heard that, my first thought was that it was a little small plane that, pilot had had a heart attack or something and crashed into the tower. So I went down the elevator to go out into the streets to see what was there. And when I got into the lobby and walked through the revolving door, I say now, going through that revolving door out into the street was actually leaving my old life behind and entering into a new life that was unimaginable. It was really stepping out into a battlefield. I remember paper being littered all over the streets. The streets were filled with paper that was continually wafting down throughout the whole morning. I took a few steps to go see the North Tower, and was shocked when I saw that it was not a small plane. It was what I call a black cavern in the side of the tower. And that day I just witnessed the things that people shouldn't have to. All the things of war: destruction, death, injury, fear. They were all elements of that morning. Running for my life when the second plane hit, trying to help an injured person. Yeah.
Yeah. So in some of our first conversations, when 10 years ago when we started talking, part of what we talked about was you just wrestling with how that experience impacted your thoughts about God, and seeing that, witnessing that, experiencing that, and thoughts about God. So how did that day, impact your?
It's funny that day I as Jason mentioned, I did write a book about the experience, and I wanted to read what I wrote about God and 9/11. This kind of will tell you where my thoughts were. I wrote, I don't believe I had witnessed the wrath of anyone's God that morning. What I had been a witness to when I looked up at those burning towers was the ultimate evil that man is capable of, the evidence of just how deep hatred could run, how far it could go. But I had also been a witness to something else that day, down on the ground. I witnessed the ultimate goodness of man, the evidence of how strong courage could be and to what lengths it would go. I believe God was in the hands of everyone who reached out to help someone. He was in the arms of people on the streets as they embraced one another. He was in the tears of strangers who cried together. He was in all the lives that were given in the line of duty, in the acts of heroism. He was in the hearts of the people across the country who, as they watched the horror from afar, felt compassion.
Yeah, that's good. So how long were those some of your thoughts sort of immediately coming out of that experience, or did it take a little while to get there?
It took a little while, a couple months to get that. It's funny, the one thing I remember vividly when the second plane hit and we were all running in the streets, I remember screaming out loud, "God, save us all." And I had to wrestle with that reality that God wasn't able to save us all that day. And I still sometimes struggle with that even now. Knowing God was present, as I mentioned, but also knowing, that He wasn't able to save us all.
Yeah. That is one of the age-old questions of where is God in some of that horror, and it's a significant thing to wrestle through. So, so we started talking, 10 years ago ish. What has your, and then you were part of my own journey of coming to terms with believing in, full inclusion of LGBTQ people in the church. And I really appreciate, your willingness to journey with me on all of that. But what's your, what does your spiritual journey look like sort of in the past 10-ish years and kind of coming out of 9/11, trying to re-engage with church in some way?
Well, I did when I moved here in 2003, and 9/11 was the motivating factor that made me want to be closer to my parents. So that, affected my life in that way. But when I moved here, I did want to connect with God, and I started going to a United Methodist church, which since I was raised that, and I found great comfort in being in the church, even though I knew that the denomination as a whole was not affirming at least the church itself was welcoming. Then I thought perhaps I could make a change or help change to come within the denomination. So I got very involved in that aspect of it, and ultimately became very disillusioned. And it was reminiscent of some of the things I endured with when I was first struggling with my sexuality. I'll never forget. I was at what was called a question and answer period where I was with a bunch of lay people and a bunch of pastors, and they were discussing this issue, and I was the person speaking on behalf of it, and then they had someone speaking against it. So that kind of set the tone for that. And afterwards, the questions and answers, some of the things that were said to me by pastors just really got to me so much. It was shortly after that I just stopped going to church, and I figured, I couldn't deal with the whole judgment aspect again, so I just stopped. And then I met Jason, and it's funny, I met him through someone who was going here, and the whole reason I met him that first time, I wanted to ask him what his stance was on homosexuality, and he shared it, but also the thing that struck me about Jason was he truly wanted to know my story without any judgment on his part, and I respected that and I appreciated that. So we continued meeting every once in a while for coffee and kind of developed a friendship. And then it was a number of years ago, he sent me a Facebook invitation to come to the Easter service. And I don't know what prompted me to say yes, but I did. I got Ranger and we went, and I've been coming ever since, much to my surprise.
Yeah, so I mean that's something we've talked about before, with all of the sort of like tension in your relationship with the church because of your own journey and even your own experience with 9/11 and experiencing the question of where is God and all of this. Coming back to Lancaster, some continued negative experience in churches. There's still sort of some level of flicker of a flame that desires to connect with God, desires to connect in community. Why is that for you?
I wish I knew. I don't know, but you're right. There is like a flicker of there's something. I guess, I remember back in the day talking about that God, that empty spot in your heart that God needed to fill. Perhaps that's some of it. I still feel an emptiness in some regards, and look to have that filled. I think.
Yeah, and I think I squirrels come to church when you're outside. Yeah, what were we talking about? Squirrel.
That spark.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and it makes sense to me, that even through the struggles, that there's still something in us, because I think, as created beings, God has placed in us some desire to connect with Him, and even through all the obstacles. And that's one of the things that just amazes me about your own story in your own journey and about your faith, is just through all that pain, through all those questions and hardships and challenges that you've walked through, there's still an openness and a desire to engage with God, to engage with spiritual community, even though that can be risky, so I don't know, it's exciting to see, and I'm really glad that you're a part of Life Church here and willing to share with us. Any other kind of thoughts as we kind of close out? Anything you want to?
Well, I think I was really struck with your sermon on the stages of faith that we go through, and I'd have to say I'm probably in the descent stage right now. Questioning just about everything, yet questioning it within a Christian context, within community, which I guess is the way to do it.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. I think there are many who can empathize with that season of the journey, that stage of the journey. So awesome. Hey, thanks for joining us. Thanks for sharing here, Artie. Let's hear it for Artie.
Thank you. Thank you.
As he mentioned, he's got a couple of books that he wrote. One is That Day in September. I think that's the one you have right there. Yeah. And what's the other one called?
9/11, a survivor story.
9/11, A Survivor Story. They're on Amazon. Get them at all your local bookstores, wherever you get books. So thanks again, Artie, for sharing. The sun is setting and it's chilly out there, so we have to keep going. Although I could take a lot longer in conversation with Artie and everything. But so we're gonna segue into communion here, and so I'm excited to do this together. It's been a while as a church since we've partaken in communion together. Since we haven't been meeting, we are aiming to do this as COVID friendly as possible. Our ladies are going to be passing out the things, the elements here in just a minute. So once they start passing those out, just grab one of those. They're fairly self-explanatory, but we believe that one of the beautiful things about communion is it's a celebration of the death of Jesus, which is something that unites us all together. And as Artie shared some of his own journey and his own story, I mean, one of the things we recognize is that pain and hardship are a part of life, right? The difficulties come. And one of the things I try to teach here is that I don't believe that I don't think God caused 9/11. I don't think God brought the pandemic, because that doesn't look like Jesus. And Jesus tells us that he is the one who shows us what God is like. And I don't think Jesus would send pandemics. Jesus comes to heal and to save and to help and to restore. And so, but Jesus demonstrated his willingness to partake in humanity and in the hardship through his own death and resurrection. So through his own death, we see that God himself is willing to suffer. God himself is willing to go through the hardships with us. Even though sometimes we just can't fully make it make sense, just like Artie trying to process that experience at 9/11. Like, we just don't, God, where are you in all of this? What we can know because of the death of Jesus, the crucifixion of Jesus, that God does go through this with us. He is with us. He promises to be with us. And so the other just incredible thing about communion is that it is, as Mindy mentioned earlier, it's an equalizer. We all are welcome. We all, Jesus has done this for all, and he invites us all to partake and all to join. Whether you're Republican or a Democrat, you're invited in. Whether you're liberal or conservative, whether you're white or black or brown, or whether you're rich or poor or whatever, it doesn't matter, because through the death of Jesus, we all come on the same ground together to receive forgiveness, to receive hope, to receive life, and a relationship with God. And so that is one of the beauties of communion. So Ashlyn's going to lead us in a song here. If you know it, you can sing along. If not, just listen. The ladies are going to pass the little vials out, and I'll come up and just hold on to those while Ashlyn sings, and then I'll explain a little more when the appropriate time has come. So Ashlyn, go ahead.
Cause this is the body, this is the blood, broken and poured out for all of us. And in this communion, we share in his love. This is the body, this is the blood. I will remember everything, Lord, that you've done for me. I won't take for granted your sacrifice that set me free. I hunger and thirst for your love. Come fill me today. This is the body, this is the blood, broken and poured out for all of us. And in this communion, We share in this love. This is the body. This is the blood.
So you can remove the little lid from the portion that has the bread in it, the little little morsel of bread, and prepare to receive that together. If you, do not want to participate, obviously no one is required to participate tonight. But if you would like to and you still are trying to get one of those, I think maybe everybody's good. All right. So I'll read a portion of Scripture here. In 1 Corinthians chapter 11, it says this, "For I pass on to you what I received from the Lord himself on the night when he was betrayed. The Lord Jesus took some bread and gave thanks to God for it. And then he broke it in pieces and he said, 'This is my body, which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me.'" So you may partake of the bread. You can now turn that over and remove the lid from the juice while I read this scripture. "In the same way, he took the cup of wine after supper, saying, 'This is the cup of the new covenant between God and his people, an agreement confirmed with my blood. Do this in remembrance of me as often as you drink it. For every time you eat this bread and drink this cup, you are announcing the Lord's death until he comes again.'" You may now drink together. When you're ready.
Ready? 'Cause this is the body, and this is the blood, broken and poured out for all of us. And in this communion, we share in his love. This is the body. This is the blood. One more time. 'Cause this is the body. This is the blood. Broken and poured out for all of us. And in this communion, we share in his love. This is the body. This is the blood.
I'm going to jump in here. We want to thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you had a good evening here together with us. Should I move or? Ashlyn's going to play one more song, but if you're chilly and you're ready to kind of get moving, you can do that. But as he finishes out this one song, we just want to say thanks so much for being here. Really good to see you. Remember that November 1st, we're going to start engaging in person here. And we're going to take that as it comes, learn as we go, see who shows up, how many show up, and keep moving along. And we will be doing another one of these on October 18th, another Life Church Outdoors, October 18th. But we're going to move it earlier in the day, so stay tuned for that. It's sun's setting sooner and sooner, and it's getting chilly. So mark October 18th. So feel free to move about if you'd like to, or just kind of listen to Ashlyn as he finishes out here this evening.
Yeah, I was going to tell you, feel free to stand up. Get the blood flowing a little bit. The song's a little bit of a crossover, which I thought was cool. It's actually got like 4 different country artists involved with Chris Tomlin in this song, which I thought was pretty cool. So it's called "Be a Light." In a time full of war, be peace. of doubt, just believe. Yeah, there ain't that much difference between you and me. In a time full of war, be peace. In a world full of hate, be a light. When you do somebody wrong, make it right. Don't hide in the dark, you were born to shine. In a world full of hate, be a light. In a place that needs a change, make a difference. In a time full of noise, just listen. 'Cause life is but a breeze, better live it. In a place that needs a change, make a difference. In a world full of hate, be a light. When you do somebody wrong, make it right. Don't hide in the dark, you were born to shine. In a world full of hate, be a light. In a race you can't win, slow it down. Yeah, you only get one go around. 'Cause the finish line is 6 feet from the ground. In a race you can't win, just slow it down. In a world full of hate, be a light. When you do somebody wrong, make it right. Don't hide in the dark, you were born to shine. In a world full of hate, be a light. Yeah, it's hard to live in color when you see just black and white. In a world full of hate, be a light. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.